back, everybody. Episode 72 of Everything Teams Phone Live. This is like a special edition. It's the normal edition, but it's a special edition today. Why is it a special edition? Because we've got a very super exciting guest. And his name is Mark Vale. He probably needs no introduction to this audience. Yeah, it's you. It's you, Mark. It's you. He needs no introduction. So normally we take a while to introduce our guests, but Mark Vale, quite frankly, in this space, in this ecosystem, needs no introduction. So I'm excited to welcome Mark Vale to the show, Brandon. But not just welcome him to the show, Brandon. What do we have to say that's even more exciting than just welcoming him to the show?
Yeah. First of all, you had mentioned our guest, Mark Vale. Mark, welcome to the show as our guest, but also welcome to Momentum as our modern work enterprise architect. Huge announcement. I think, Mark, you already put it out on LinkedIn, but now we're socializing it verbally, and we're excited to have you. I think Mark's been here, but this is closing on 2 weeks now. And we're already seeing some great waves from you, Mark, and I think we're going to talk about some of those topics today. So welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. Yeah, I haven't got long to fall, have I? After that introduction.
That's right.
We built you up, Mark. We built you up, and you don't even have any like swag yet. Do you have any swag yet? Did marketing get some swag out to you? Some polos, some t-shirts, jackets, the Mercedes-Benz that says Momentum on it for you. Yeah, I know you're a BMW guy, but it's a Mercedes-Benz that we ship out to.
Well, actually, they were out of Mercedes, so I got a Lamborghini on the drive. So I was good.
You got the Lambo. Yeah, it's a purple Lamborghini that got delivered to you.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't you show it, Bailey? Don't you show it?
I don't think that's in the marketing budget.
We're talking. We should show the picture. Rick leaning on the Lamborghini with his hulked up body. Let's do it.
Well, that's a good one.
Normal. This is normal. What are you talking about?
Shout out Chelsea for that.
That's right. All right. Before we get started, everybody, with this very special episode, we are going to we got some house cleaning to do. That's what it is. We got some house cleaning to do. Bailey, our producer, thank you for putting it all together. Bailey, what do we have in store for us today?
Yeah, thanks, Rick. You guys know the drill at this point. This show is sponsored by Momentum, where we help businesses connect, collaborate, and engage using Microsoft Teams. And welcome, Mark Vale, to the show.
Thank you very much.
Boom. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Bailey. Okay, Mark, boy, like Brandon said, you've been here for 2 weeks. What kind of what's the size of fire hose that you're now drinking from at this point, 2 weeks into it? Is it just like washing over you right now?
I have to admit that the first week went really quick. I don't know when the day started and ended. It's obviously a different working dynamic for me, being here in the UK and working for a US firm, changing my hours of work. So still adjusting to that. So lots of things going on, lots of things to take on board. Who knew that fax was going to be popular in 2024 again? So learning all the old stuff again. No.
That's awesome.
No, it's good. I think it's going to take me a little bit longer to get up to speed fully, but learn every day, and that's good.
And I just have to say, Mark, I can already appreciate your sense of humor. I'm learning to just react to comments with okay, he can't be serious, and I appreciate that. I like the easy flow that you bring to the table. Rick, I don't know if you know this. When Mark started, kind of even pre-start, right, a couple days ahead of time, him and I were reviewing kind of like the high level. Hey, here's the things that you're going to own going forward. And Mark so bluntly just said, I think I've changed my mind. And obviously he was joking, but I can appreciate that sense of humor because it is a lot, right? We're obviously dumping a lot onto Mark's plate, but we're excited to have your expertise here, Mark, because I think it's going to help us get to market faster on other things we're working on. And it's just going to bring a huge amount of expertise to the table for the complexity of some of our customers as they're looking for solutions from Momentum.
Yeah, no, it is exciting to have him here. And just as his role, it's a long title. I'm not even going to say what the long title is, but he's essentially our global architect now here at Momentum. having his input on a lot of different things. This is what's cool about what you're going to bring to the table, Mark, and what you're already doing. This is just, I mean, you've been here for 2 weeks and you've already had an impact on some things. You've helped, win some customers. You've helped bring our Microsoft relationship even closer. Like there's so many things that you've already done in 2 weeks. And so we're just super excited. But your role spans across the entire organization, right? From development to pre-sales to product development to Brandon. What else, Brandon? It's a long list of things that he's helping.
Yeah, it's pretty much probably, I would say, one of the most visible positions in the organization. And with that comes a lot of responsibility, obviously. But I love it. I wake up in the morning. Mark, obviously being in the UK, he's shifting his hours a little bit to meet our East Coast time zone. But what I love is he's actually online before I am by a couple hours at least. And I love waking up in the morning and the first thing I see is he's chatting with developers saying, here's this API, here's that, go do this, you should consider this. And I'm like, finally someone doing it for me. I love it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So go back to we're going to go back to facts here for just a second, Mark. It's pretty funny because at CommsV Next last year, Brandon and I think it was last year. Was it this year or last year, Brandon?
It was April.
It was April this year. Seems like forever ago, right? We got up and literally we were kind of laughed at for developing a fax application. Like actually laughed at. It was hilarious. And we were sitting there thinking, are we wrong? Like, are we wrong? Like seriously, are we wrong? And then as we roll this out to the public and customers and Microsoft, they're like, no, this is cool. This is amazing. And so we're pleasantly surprised with the volume of faxing still needed.
And if we're being honest, I was probably one of the people who laughed at you.
I think I distinctly remember specifically you laughing.
Look, and your day's filled now with developing the additional fax application features and rolling it in.
But on the same score, I've been obviously on a couple of customer calls already, kind of listening in. But everyone seems to be interested in it. So maybe it's not going away; it's just taking a new form.
You know what's crazy about that is I think the reason, there is a reason to laugh at that, right? We all, deep down inside, we want fax to go away. The reality is it's not going to go away. What's interesting is I think before this application, it was easy for us, and when I say us, I mean, in general, not just us at Momentum. It was easier for us just to push that customer request down the road to say, hey, there's companies out there that do that. Go talk to them. Now what we're seeing, and shout out to Tom Arbuthnot for his reference, we're starting to get all of these other people starting to realize, I maybe subconsciously I used to ignore fax, but now when a customer asks me about it, I know where to point them. And so it's really interesting to see that change in thought, even if it's subconscious for people.
Yeah. I mean, the consultant thought is when you go into a customer and you say, what's your telephony estate? And they go through everything and they say, I've got fax. Our default response is, turn that off, because that's the easy way. There was no easy button to bring that into the Microsoft UC world. So it was often easy just to say, leave that alone. That's a problem for another day. Mm-hmm. But now you can just say, well, actually, you can just bring it into Teams now, and into SharePoint and all the other good stuff that you can wrap around it. And who knows, maybe there's a Copilot story in that as well in the future.
Oh, there is. There is, Mark.
We believe there is.
All right, so let's talk about some of the new things that are rolling out. I'd love to get your opinion on a few things, Mark. There's a lot that's happening. Obviously, the Qs app has been threatening to come out for a little while. I think that's actually just about ready to hit GA. I think we're seeing more and more of those features available to us in the TAC and things like that. So I think it's actually here. I think it's actually going to roll out. Does anyone know the GA date for the Qs app?
I don't think it's going to be GA soon. We're promised that it will land into TAP customers next week at some point. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on that for the first time. How long that stays in TAP before GA, who knows? Microsoft sometimes have a habit of releasing stuff into GA before even TAP, so who knows what can happen.
All right.
So. They also have a habit of putting the documentation out there and then not actually making the feature available. One big one, which is a massively requested one, is the call queue callback feature, right? That documentation is already public. You can go out there, you can see what the commands are. In fact, the commands are even available in the PowerShell module, but as soon as you try to execute them, it's not available. So that's I think is another big one that we should talk about. Go ahead, Mark.
That's great. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. You can configure them, but you just can't activate it yet. But no, it's going to be really interesting. I think there's always been a gap between call queues and auto attendance and contact center and the customer requirements between the two. And for the last sort of 6 years or so, it's been an ocean in terms between functionality. It has got better, I think, with the Teams Premium license and Queues app that now has closed the gap quite significantly, and you can do lots of contact center kind of light situations now without going for a third party. So it'd be interesting to see what the delineation points are, what you can achieve natively in Teams without breaking out to a third party, and what the decision points are between going Queues app with Premium versus going to a contact center, whether it's Extend, Power, Dynamics, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I think the feature set, it's interesting because I think, you've got these legacy features that we expect to be able to accomplish that a normal phone system accomplishes, right? But then you've got these, I'm not going to call it extreme, but you've got these other features that are just way ahead. I mean, obviously the translation, transcription, all that good stuff is awesome. But I was at we do these road shows in different cities, and I was chatting with Don at Microsoft, and one of the things that we had talked about, because I was in the middle of giving a presentation on Copilot Studios, and Brandon, I sent you this note as a reminder for me because I was like, wow, can you actually do that? And so Don was telling me something about auto attendance into Copilot Studios as an IVR to go dip information and pull back and present information. And I'm like, oh, wow, can you connect that? Can you connect those now? Can you connect your auto attendant or call queue into Copilot Studio to go do some sort of GPT sort of dip on a database and pull that information out and present it to your caller? And he said the tools are there. He hasn't built it yet, but the tools are there to do it. Yeah, and I'm like, that's cool.
It's all there ready to be plumbed in. So like auto attendant can just offload a call to a bot. A bot can interface with anything it's coded against. So probably some Azure Communication Service, a bit of Copilot. Again, it's good for sandbox and research, seeing what's possible, the art of the possible, and pushing that envelope. Bringing such solutions into practical everyday use cases. I think there's questions on can you rely on AI to give business answers to your customers without you present? I think that's a question for different types of scenarios because AI is good, but it does make mistakes. It's only as good as its trained model and what have you. So I think to actually refine it and get it fine-tuned so that we build trust, both sides, trust from the business side and trust from the customer receiving that information, that it's factually correct and as good as a human would give it to you. I think there's a little bit to go on there, but certainly it's an exciting time. It's probably the biggest industrial revolution since the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. I'm going to just draw this clear line now, this delineation between product and sales and engineering. Like, this is amazing. It is, but we've got to make sure that it's accurate. I'm like, God.
Yeah, that's it. Because you'll go sell something and say it does this, and then we have to deliver it. And when it doesn't deliver, it's our fault, right? So.
That's right. All right, that's perfect.
I think it's going to be quite a while, if at all, that you see an out out of a box solution for Teams Phone proper, right? Like I think it's the focus is going to be more, and I can't get into details because I was on an NDA covered call with Microsoft, getting to see some roadmap features coming, and this happens to be one of the topics. This whole offloading a call to Copilot, but I think the focus is on that is more on the contact center side than it is out of the box with the Qs app and Teams Phone. Not saying that day's not coming, but just making sure as an organization, we just need to make sure that, our customers understand that, sometimes when you read something about a Microsoft feature, it's not always clear where that feature actually lives and what the complexity of that feature is.
Do you guys feel like we're on the cusp of the communications industry changing as a whole? Like the communications industry really evolving, like something radical in the space. Do you guys think that we're sort of in that time right now? Because I feel like there's such an accelerated pace of new things being delivered to the market that the development is ahead of the utilization, right? Far ahead of the utilization. Whereas I think if you take it, flip it around and you go, typically the consumer has things and uses things way before a business, right? The consumer had video, whatever the Apple stuff is that you communicate video face to face. There was Skype back in the day, right? Just not Skype for business, but just Skype. That was that computer, the user computer for your communications. That was that. So that was the training for it. But I feel like the pace of development now for the business communication platform and services is far ahead of where we're at realistically on Main Street. But I think that the adoption and the acceptance of it seems to be ramping up much quicker than I'd have thought. And I feel like the communications industry is going to go through a real change real soon. Any thoughts?
I mean, I can share my thought. I don't know that I think there's some huge evolution there. I think AI is definitely going to make people rethink their solution and their strategy. I'm just going to state this opinion, and it's going to sound maybe less forward thinking than maybe I'm intending it. But I actually don't think that right now the evolution is so much on all these, like, oh man, this is all new stuff. The stuff that we're talking about isn't that it's radically new. What I think we're seeing is the true unified communications finally coming together, where we're meeting that crossroads where collaboration used to be its silo, telephony and communication used to be its silo, webinars, and they all had their silos. And now I think what we're seeing is it's all where that hockey stick is at, and maybe pandemic forced it, is all of these features are starting to come together in a single platform. So now the lines are blurred on when I'm talking to Mark Vale, I'm talking to him in maybe what used to be a phone call or what used to be a collaboration channel. Now it's ubiquitous, right? I don't have to think about how I'm talking to Mark Vale. I don't think about, oh, I need to reach out on a collaboration stack for chat or video or voice, or I don't have to go find his phone number to call him. It's all just unified, and now it's just, I'm going to go talk to Mark, and I don't care what avenue I take to talk to Mark. I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, the future right now is omni-channel, right? In direct comms and obviously contact center as well. So if you think about how younger people than us three communicate, they go chat first, WhatsApp first, social first, Telegram, whatever it might be. They want to talk to businesses how they talk to friends through those same channels. And that's their first contact point in many cases. But sometimes you just can't get the answer that you want, whether it be by AI bot, pre-canned responses, person in the chat agent, whatever it might be. But it's how you transition between each of those modalities. So can I escalate from chat to a voice call without having to go and join a queue, on a different system? And speak to a different agent and what have you? Or can I go to a video call? Maybe I've got a problem with my TV and I'm on a tech call and I need to show them the problem because I'm having trouble explaining it in text for instance, being able to do that and having a platform that works both sides. So, it gives the experience to the end user on the tool and the app that they're comfortable with. But from an agent perspective, they're using one tool for all modalities, and they don't have to context switch and have multiple agent desktops and have to log into different portals and stuff like that to service those requests. I think that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, I think you articulated it perfectly. That's exactly the change that I was kind of alluding to, right? It's how do people what's that first communication look like? And Brandon and I have evangelized the website is the first sort of, start of a communication. It's the launch pad for communications. If I'm going to Bing a company, I say that I actually Google a company, but if I Bing a company, that's really, and I get their listing, right? Their whatever listing they have, and I click on the button to connect with them. That's typically how I engage with a company, right? And particularly, let's just say if you're calling your haircut place as an example, great, you go set an appointment if you want to set an appointment, or you make a call or whatever it may be. But really, that self-service chat, engagement, it seems to be more and more that first sort of engagement. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, though. It's like typically that was a phone call a long time ago, right? Do you have space? Do you have space? And there's a portion of the consumer space that will just go online because it's easy. Let me just go online. I'm savvy. But if you're not that person, you either want to talk to somebody or whatever, you still have to have this other modality to connect with them. But more and more, you're seeing that whole chat whether whether it's AI that can handle it or whether it is person behind. Let me connect with you without actually talking to you.
Yeah. If you think about how it will go even more so, obviously it'll take the search engines to play ball, but imagine having your chatbot in line with your Google search result or Bing search result, and rather than having to go to the website to find the chat, you just launch it straight from your search record on Google or Bing or what have you. Then you're straight into, maybe it's a FAQ serviced by an AI bot. Then maybe it's a chat with a real agent. Maybe it's escalation to voice. You might not even actually get on the person's website or the company's website. You might be surfacing it straight from the search engines and have that
interesting
to voice from there.
Interesting you say that. So I had this chat with the gentleman who started a chat company in 2016. And Brandon, you'll know who I'm talking about. And their whole thing was pictures, right? It was pictures in the chat bot. And he had a discussion at the time with somebody named Satya when he was running the search engine platform for Microsoft, right? And presenting people to connect to visually in search results was a way to differentiate Bing search from Google search, right? And it was something that they were talking about and could do, but it never came to fruition. So you're exactly right. Timing, right? This was 2016, 17, 18. And now you fast forward here and you go, this would be interesting in 2024, 2025, chat with the connectivity, direct connectivity into a customer via the channel, via that search would be pretty interesting and very convenient.
Yeah, that's it. And if you think about, take the Bing and Microsoft example, you could go further, integrate with Bing Copilot. Then you've got Windows Copilot on your machine. You've got a Copilot button on your keyboard. Press a button. I want to speak to Rick at Momentum, and I'm having a chat straight away.
Yep, that's it. All right, well, let's pack up and go home. We were all on the same page. This is great. Okay, Brandon, what else are we covering today? Because this is exciting stuff. What else is Microsoft rolling out? What else? I'd love to see just Mark, what you think is pretty interesting out in the space, or Brandon, what's coming out that's pretty interesting. I know we've got a couple of announcements as far as App Source goes and other products and stuff, but what do you think is pretty interesting out there?
From my perspective, there's a lot of things that are really interesting. Unfortunately, I'd probably need an attorney here to tell me whether I can talk about them. I had this opportunity to join again this product roadmap from Microsoft, and all I can say is there are some really cool things coming on the roadmap. I wish I could talk about them, and we will eventually talk about them, I think. But as far as, if we talk about momentum, I think we can talk about what's on the roadmap for momentum, specifically because Mark is joining us on this podcast, and we can kind of talk about, areas of focus that he's working on, specifically around Operator Connect and our goal to be global, right? So, one of the things Mark he's already, not even 2 full weeks in, he's already chatting with Microsoft folks. He's already chatting with other arms of our business on Operator Connect and what that might look like going forward. And, Mark, I'll let you chime in on thoughts there. But Rick, obviously, our goal is to be a global. I think right now our target is to be like the number 2 operator by coverage in the world when we get done. So I'll just pause there and let's socialize it. What does that
when
look
you
like?
say done, it's December 1, by the way.
Mark and I made a bet that you would say that date.
He didn't say what year though. That's
right.
He's already learning.
Will be really interesting to work on that program, and regardless of dates aside, landing that would be a significant step forward, and a statement to the Microsoft world. Momentum means business in Teams Phone.
Yeah, and I think that plays into, Mark, I'm going to let you speak to this because you obviously understand this better than I do because you already delivered this. I think that will also play into this app source discussion. So let's maybe talk about app source as well, what that means to the community and to our customers and to Microsoft. Yeah,
so we've got 5 or 6 listings now in App Source for different products like faxing, texting, Operator Connect, GCCH. Although I can't work on that because I'm not American. Well, at the moment they're just store listings, so they anybody can search for Operator Connect or Teams texting or Teams faxing, and we'll pop up in those search results. The lead will come into Rick, and we take it from there. So that's the first step. But what we're working on, or hopefully going to work on soon, is actually integrating these offers into Azure Marketplace as a co-sell, so IP co-sell, so that customers can use their committed spend with Azure towards subscriptions on these platforms. So that's more tighter integration. So for any customers who may not have budget or have long procurement processes, there's a transactable way to consume these services directly through Azure, and Microsoft can then co-sell with us as well. So that'll be an important addition to AppSource when that happens.
I particularly like the GCCH offering in there, like the government sort of PSTN and conferencing services. I mean, just from showing the app source, showing the group or customers, we can point them to a spot and say, hey, look, here's our GCCH offering, something like that, right? Because often people will say, hey, there's only one person in there that does GCCH, one organization in there that they see, and now there's not. We've done GCCH for years, but we kind of relaunched it a few months back with some additional features and some capabilities, and then we basically started kind of publicizing it, but having it in the marketplace gives us a spot to point to for some validity and going like, here we are, we can go deliver on GCCH for you in a very, very large way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about if you're searching for an app to solve a problem in the general world now, in the consumer world, you go into somewhere like GetApp or Software Advice here in the UK, and you're going to search for what you want, and then it's going to give you back, these are the companies and these are the products out there, and these are the comparisons or what have you. Azure Marketplace App Source is that place for Microsoft tools, right? So if you want a Microsoft problem, you're going there to search for solutions. So it's like the shop window. The short list.
You're already there. Exactly, the short list. How does it feel to be back into a like your latest organization, you're Colorado, and then how does it feel to be part of a U.S. organization? Is it weird being part of a U.S. organization, or is it or part of on the consulting side again for in the Teams ecosystem, because we're not just dial tone here at Momentum, right? We deliver a full on solution. We try to hit the easy button for organizations looking for Teams phone. How does it feel to be part of that again?
Yeah, it feels good. I think there's slight culture change between Brits and Americans. We like to be, we like to queue, so we like to be patient and polite. So sometimes getting words into a meeting is quite hard, but everyone's happy, friendly. Like I say, it's good to be back kind of into consulting, be more closer to the customer on the team side of things. That's something that I've missed for a couple of years, really. But we try new things, and that's how we progress, don't we? So it's good to be back into that world. In terms of working for Momentum itself, I wanted to pick a place that really had a differentiating story. There's lots of carriers and operators out there that can all sell dial tone and can all do operator connect or direct routing, what have you. But it's all the wraparound services and going to market and strategy around it too. So being able to talk to a customer and say, hey, what's your problem? And they list out 10 different problems. It's good to have 10 answers for those problems that can all be serviced by, us as an organization, rather than saying, well, we can only solve this particular problem, those 9 other problems, you're going to have to find something else for, because customer wants a single bill, a single throat to choke or hand to shake, however you want to phrase it. So it's easy for them as well from an operating model. So they just got one place to get everything from, one account manager, one support desk. What's not to like.
So I'm going to ask you a question then. Did you choose us, or did we choose you?
Well, I think it's a bit of both.
A bit of both, right? A bit of both. Like that's pretty interesting, because there was I think that's pretty interesting. I love the way that you kind of put it out there, because that's exactly kind of what we want to be, and we strive to be for organizations, and for you to come out and go, yeah, I wanted to go to a place that could do this and where we could deliver on this. That's pretty awesome. Like that kind of makes me happy. Like we're fulfilling that gap in the marketplace that I feel carriers have today, because carriers are content delivering PSTN dial tone today, right? That's kind of what they do and what we do as a carrier. But we wanted to take it a step further and deliver on a solution end to end for a customer. Unfortunately, we have guys like Brandon around to kind of help guide that.
Yeah, I mean, any operator who's just in the business of selling lines and minutes these days, they're going to find it quite tough in the modern world. So it's good to have tech innovating solutions that are, voice and dial tone is part of the solution. It's not the entire solution that we offer. So, that's the way that we have to move forward in the communication industry.
Yeah, and I think that's becoming a topic in the industry as well. This whole and I got to quote it from our buddy Roy over in the Netherlands. Telco to techco, and I think Rick and I through our evolution into the Microsoft space, which is relatively short compared to your journey, Mark. We've had him and I talk like 8th graders. We're talking all the time. We're gossiping Microsoft with each other. But one of the things that we were constantly talking about is how do we make sure that we are the loudest in the space? And I think that TechCo strategy, it has been solidified, because now what we're seeing is these various events around the world, they're putting on stage that very topic, telco to techco. And you get to these roundtables and you hear the carriers complaining about how Microsoft's taking their revenue from them. And Rick and I just turn at each other and we laugh. We're like, while that might be true in the minutes game, it's not true in the techco game if you're prepared to embrace the wraparound services that you can go sell on top of the minutes game, so to speak.
Yeah,
the game hasn't changed. It's the same game, right? It's the same concept, but things are a little bit different. Let me explain this for just a second. My perspective on this anyway. If you were a telco guy back in the day, okay, maybe you were a Mitel distributor, an NEC distributor, Avaya, Cisco, whatever it is, right? Those guys don't go to market directly to the business. They don't go to market directly to the business. They don't have the amount of hands and feel good and empathy and solutioning on a wide scale. They can't deliver it on a wide scale, right? So what do? They deliver a platform to integrators. Right. And integrators go and deliver that service. That was kind of the old PBX, model, right? For, the last 40, 50 years, whatever it's been. If you look at Microsoft, I look at Microsoft as a platform. Microsoft has delivered a platform, but can a consumer, can a business that's a law firm, somebody from a law firm go put it all together to deliver the fully functioning service that a law firm needs? And I have a hard time believing. I don't know if Microsoft makes it complex for a reason to feed the partners, but it's pretty complex, right? It's like, do I get direct routing? Do I get Operator Connect? Do I get Teams Phone Mobile? Do I get whatever else is out there? Do I buy calling plans? Right? There's 4 or 5 different ways to connect into Teams, so it becomes complex. So you need kind of an experienced guiding hand that helps deliver a solution. So I think the integrators, if you will, are different now. They're not the legacy, low voltage sort of your telco guys, going out and delivering. The integrators are now, the Microsoft partners or carriers who are expanding beyond delivering what we traditionally deliver, right? Those are the partners now. So the model, I think, is exactly the same. Here's a platform. We need people to go execute on and deliver it to the businesses. And you build your services and add your additional services onto that service. So the model is exactly the same, I think. Am I wrong in thinking that? I think it's the same, just different players now.
I think at a base level, but customers now want more, Operator Connect is kind of the easy button for Teams telephony, at a basic 2 cups on a string solution, scenario, it's fairly straightforward. I don't think you can get any easier. But those resellers and that market that you're alluding to before just concentrated in the past on selling a handset or a desk phone and a line and minutes, and that's it. Go and use it, Mr. Customer or Mr. Customer. Now it's much more involved with that customer, so you can go into each of their scenarios and understand how they communicate and whether that's optimal for them. So let's say you have a bunch of field engineers out there that are working in on machinery or pipes or whatever it might be, and they need to call, or it could even be pilots or anybody in transport. They need to call back to their ops center to get advice on how to fix a certain problem. It's what do they do today? Oh, they call on their company mobile device. They call this number. They go through an IVR system. They get to speak to someone, and then you have to explain to them verbally what they're seeing visually, and that's often quite hard for everyone to interpret. But if we came up with a solution for that particular scenario, say, hey, do you know what? You could put a Google Glass or whatever it might be, glasses on your face. You can look at the problem. You can bring AR into Teams somehow. And then the agent sitting on Teams is connected and can see first-person shooter what the engineer sees, and they can collaborate together to get the problem solved. And then at the moment, that's down for the customer to solve that problem with different types of hardware or different types of vendors, but going to a partner who can say, we've road tested this, we've got the solution for it, we can help you implement it, and we can make it a success. That's the key to success. I think Teams is part of the story. I think that's the backbone of modern day communications, but we still have to not forget that there are communication scenarios that extend out of Teams that we have to think about how we can tie those into Teams as well.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think your the AR scenario, that was pretty neat. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, oh, well, it'd be pretty cool. I mean, if you think about some sort of technician or something who needs hands in the field, but it's not the hands in the field, and they're talking to someone that could be hands in the field, and you're just like visually sort of looking at what they're seeing, that'd be pretty cool.
You see, you get your phone and you're talking and you're trying to do this and you're trying to fix something. It's pretty hard, isn't it? So
Yeah,
something that's headset driven, you've got two hands to fix it.
pretty cool. All right, Brandon. What else we have to walk through here? This is pretty. I love all this sort of chat because I think this is great solutioning, if you will. For sort of future stuff. I mean, we're catching organizations up right now, just getting on the teams and being able to solution way ahead of them for things like this. This is pretty cool to talk about.
Yeah, I kind of want to shift the topic a little bit because I know our plan was to maybe keep this episode just a little shorter. And I think I'm going to put Mark on the spot a little bit here. Most people probably already aware Mark Vale runs one of the biggest Teams conferences in the world. That's Commsverse. Mark, I saw on LinkedIn, I think it was yesterday, you posted an announcement about Commsverse. So maybe worth talking about what Commsverse is for the listeners. We're talking about all this stuff, and people come to maybe our podcast to learn things about Teams, but Commsverse, I'd say, is one of the ultimate ways to get into the Teams ecosystem, meet the players, meet the community, take deep dive learning sessions into various topics. And Mark, I know you're already probably busy starting to plan that, because I see in your post that looks like tickets are going to go on sale in December. You've already announced the dates. Maybe let's just talk about Commsverse a little bit.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Commsverse is the UK/Europe version of CommsV Next in Denver. We both have we're kind of the sister events of each other. So what we do on the UK side of things is we create an event that's community driven. So unlike the larger expo events out there that you would normally go to, all our content that we have is delivered by volunteers and consultants and experts, MVPs, etc., from around the world. They fly on their own dime and time to deliver sessions that they've learned in the field. So you get to learn, what works, what doesn't work, what was supposed to work but worked a different way, and that can help you deliver success in your organization by learning from how other people have done it. So it's a great networking event. It's 2 days, 18th and 19th of June, just outside of London. And we do have exhibitors there, sponsors. So usually we'll get about 50 to 55 sponsors there. So it's probably the largest collection of exhibitors in the team space on the planet in one place at one time. So if you've got a problem, need a device, need a solution for Teams, it's kind of the only place you can really get that type of coverage. This side, my side of the pond. So you should definitely go and check it out if you're European-based, UK-based, or even if you want to take a flight over from US.
I smell a platinum sponsorship. Mark, I know a guy who runs marketing in a company that may be interested in a platinum sponsorship there. All kidding aside, this year was our first time at Commsverse, and we've done CommsV Next the last couple of years, but this time was our first time at Commsverse, and what an amazing event! Like, just what an amazing event. The venue, first of all, is at Mercedes-Benz World right there, and that was spectacular to see. The vintage Mercedes, and having had several AMGs in my past, I was a huge Mercedes fan until I turned into a Porsche fan. But loved the Mercedes-Benz World location as a venue. It's a really special place. Lots of room to spread out and engage other senses besides let me just be in Teams and in sort of this heavy sort of tech environment. What a great way to kind of expand it a little bit. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the venue is part of the event, really. I've ached and pained over whether I should move it, because we're now hitting the capacity of that venue. It's, you know, the event's quite that popular. But I think people come to Comsverse for the venue as well. Lots of glass, lots of natural light. Plus, if you're a petrol head, or even if you're not a petrol head, I don't know what you call them in America, is it gas junkie or something? I don't know. But you can get to go in a fast Mercedes around a racetrack with a pro driver, and you know, you can take tours. You can go in F1 simulators and all that type of stuff. So it offers something more than just your standard, you know, conference that's all tech and all exhibitors, and in a venue that has no windows. You know, so it's really good, and you get food and drink included. So what's not to like?
Hold on a second. Food and drink. I'm going to say something about this. I grabbed a burger. Okay, this past time at Comsverse, I grabbed a burger, and immediately knew I was with my people, because it had a team stamp on top of the burger bun. I took a picture and I sent it to my fiance. I said, "I'm with my people."
So they out of the box, they stamp the burgers with the Mercedes logo. I'm like, I'm using that. So I bought an electric branding iron with the team's logo as a die, and that's what set the fire alarm off this year. They were busy branding.
So you're the culprit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. But I've heard that fire alarm has gone off like every year. Has it gone off every year? Or is this
no? It's twice in a row. So last year was the first one, and this year we joked that it happens again, and it happened. So now I'm not joking; it's going to happen again, because I don't want to tempt fate.
Yeah, it's the branding iron. The branding iron with the team's logo on the butt. I took a picture of it. I wish I could show that here just a second, because man, it was really cool. A burger bun with the team's logo stamped on it. I'm just like, I'm totally with my people here. I love this. This is great. Anyway, I'll skip that.
It always happens to be really nice weather when we do it for some reason. Let's hope it continues. And you know, the disruption it has with the full evacuation, it's a bit humorous. It's a bit disruptive, but actually, there was probably 5 or 6 deals done on the car park whilst, you know, everyone was evacuating. So it's a great networking opportunity as well. So it's a win-win.
It's an opportunity. It's like you're meeting people that and you've got something else to engage with and talk about, and then you just start talking about, you know, work and business and all that good stuff. And I thought it was fun.
However, you probably shouldn't have said that out loud on a podcast, Mark, because now the some of the sponsors are going to hear that and be like, oh, okay, well, now I just need to figure out how to set that fire alarm off.
Yeah, can I sponsor the fire alarm? You're going to sell the fire alarm.
Well, yeah, I can sponsor the fire alarm, and I'm also going to put exhibitors out in the car park as well. You know, so
there you go.
That's right. You can see the venue's now grown. You can fit more folks in there now. Here we go. Check this out. I don't know if you can see this on my screen.
Oh, yeah.
But there it is. There's the team stamped burger bun. I thought that was great. I had just come from Formula One in Barcelona. And being at the location there was really fun, because I got to see all the sort of legacy Formula One cars there, the Mercedes brand, and that was pretty. You know, I was in that sort of car mode, and to see them, to be able to go drive cars, all that good stuff was pretty darn exciting. Well, we look forward to attending this year again. Brandon and I look forward to certainly sponsoring Comsverse. And then seeing and meeting all the folks that we did at Comsverse last year or this year, it's pretty exciting. All right, what else we've got?
I think that's a wrap for today's show, episode 72.
There we go. Episode 72. That's a wrap, everyone. That's